Hey everybody, this is Mr. Crafty, and today we're doing a video about the PS4 game series Jak and Daxter. And here we have a special guest, Dark Deflex. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, it's Dark Deflex. How you doing? We're here to do Jak, old PS2 game series remastered for PS4. Excited.
Yes, and just so you guys know, I just want to tell you guys something real quick. So, Dark Deflex, he has his own channel. It's gonna be linked in the description. He's gonna be making more videos. Something happened, so had to get rid of him. But he's gonna be making a lot more videos sooner on. But also, before I even knew that, he was just a subscriber and he joined my Discord. So Dark Deflex is a living proof of if you guys join the Discord, you can, who knows, even do a video with me. So do you want to say anything about yourself before we start the video?
About myself, I just love to, yeah, if you guys want to come over, I'll start making content as soon as I can. Obviously, I'll look into recommendations. I just love to scale characters that are out of the norm. I know it's not like it's not like a unheard of thing because I see a lot of people doing it, but not a lot of people really talk about Jak and Daxter, and I just got so interested in doing it. So I just wanted to give it a shot, so I brought it up to Mr. Crafty, and here we are.
Yes, and I'm doing a lot more. I'm sorry if there's been a little delay on some recommended videos. I've been just trying to get some of the videos I wanted to get out, and I've been working on a lot on, but now I'm starting to get back into doing those recommended videos. Anyway, before we start, you want to give us, since I don't know too much about Jak and Daxter's story in terms of lore wise, you want to tell me a little bit about the character, tell the fans, who is Jak?
So Jak is, well, in the first game, Jak starts off as an adventurous teenager and doesn't really take responsibility seriously. As he goes on an adventure to help his friend who got, in this world of Jak's world, not really much given except that the world itself was created by these godlike beings called the Precursors. And there's this mystical energy. It's kind of like natural energy in a way, life energy. Called the Eco. His best friend gets corrupted by Dark Eco, which is the energy of destruction and shit. And basically he has to go on an adventure to find the sages of Dark Eco to help his friend revert back, or to try to help his friend revert back into being a human again, or whatever race Jak is.
They look like elves. I don't know.
Yeah, they're kind of like elf.
I call me racist, but every time I see something with those ears, I'm like, that's an elf. Even with Zelda, my brother gets mad at me. I'm like, hey yo, that's an elf. He's like, no, it's a Hylian. It's an elf. I say, describe me what they are, and he says, yeah, that's an elf. But yeah, he's an elf.
I guess. So basically, Jak has to start taking on this responsibility because later it turns out that the people who could supposedly help his friend are just the antagonist of the game. They're trying to use Dark Eco to do bad stuff. So Jak has to grow into this hero that he never expected himself being, but little does he know it's actually just in his destiny to be this hero who was sent back in time so he could grow strong enough to fight his strongest foes. Really great series. I recommend checking it out. The PS4 bundle is there. Not sponsored, but it's a great series.
Please sponsor, please.
Sponsors, please.
Um,
But yeah, it's a great series. Great character development. Jak starts off as a shy young kid. He's mute for the first game, but then undergoing torture in the second game, he actually just grows out of his shell, I guess, and he becomes more aggressive and assertive. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, I've seen he's a really interesting character, and I actually did like the research I did do about him. It's if you guys don't know, you guys do recommend me a series, I do try to. Hell, I read all of my Problem Children. I read the light novels. That was hard, But like when I do try to do a video, I do try to get as much in terms of lore and story wise for the characters, so I'm not just purely going off of what I see, because this lore has a great impact also in terms of scaling. But yeah, thank you for the introduction to the character. So let's go into the scaling. So something this world has is called Precursor Stones. Now the big bad of the third game, which what's his name? Like I just
No,
like
the second game.
oh sorry, the second game. What's his name?
He's the metalhead leader. His name is Core.
Yeah, Core. So Core wanted to harness this power of the Precursor Stone, which isn't it just like an egg technically of
Core states that the stone itself is the last precursor egg, and he just plans on like killing and devouring it, and just consuming the energy within it.
And it was stated by one of Jack's friends. What's his name? He's one of the
Yeah, it's stated by Samos, the green eco sage, that the stone itself has enough energy to destroy the planet,
which would be planetary, and like even a base Jack was able to contend and beat and hurt this the Core with the Precursor Stone's energy, making him at least planetary. But we're not just gonna cap him off of that, because if you've played the games and know even a little about Jack, he has several amps. One being, this is more of just something to mention, he has red eco, which does give a boost in power, and we can only assume it's at least a 2 times amp, but like it is a boost in power, so we can just assume he does get 2 times stronger. But something to like really know is his most powerful transformation, right?
It's debatable, because it's stated like lore wise, it's shown that like it's kind of like a balance, but I would argue yes, it's his stronger, since he does have an evolved version of it.
So, it's debatably his most strongest transformation, the Dark Jack transformation. Basically, he just uses Dark Eco energy to, like, transform, right?
Yes.
Now, within the Dark... Oh, sorry, continue.
Oh, no, an interesting thing I read in the data book, it says that, like, when Jack picks up, like, these little droplets of Dark Eco, that every droplet he picks up, his blood starts boiling, like, with rage. And once he reaches like a threshold, that's when he just transforms into Dark Jack.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, now we know why. This is a
pissed.
Yeah. So as shown, you can there's even videos just talking about this. When enter Dark Jack, I don't know why the creators made this. It's very unique, but and I am not joking, you can actually one-shot almost all the bosses. You can literally just one-shot them all. Like, it's really casual. Like, you can't even take damage from them. He is literally the definition of being able to one-shot someone, right?
Yeah,
and
at first Dark Jack just gives Jack more stronger durability and AP, but as his power grows, he literally just becomes invincible to all damage.
And
as long as he's transformed.
And with that, you can also argue that it would be a 7.5 times amp in power. But of course, there's even Dark Jack doesn't just stop there. Now, one of its abilities it has is to grow. Now, it's stated it can grow 3 times in size. It includes speed and strength, and including jumping. But that's probably gonna be a given. Now, with that aside, if you add a 3 times amp already on the 7.5 times amp, you'll basically have a Dark Jack at his canonically strongest. He should be able to output 1.119 times 10 to the 34 joules of energy, or large planetary. Now, then would you say should we move over to speed before we go over the other things real quick?
You want to go over speed?
Yeah, before we go over the higher and stuff.
Oh, okay. So at first, when I started scaling Jack, a lot of the arguments I would see is stuff just putting him at massively hypersonic, or relativistic at best for him dodging, lasers. But as I got it more into it, it's just very apparent that scaling is such a low ball, because there's in the guidebooks, their official data books walkthroughs where they give extra lore. It even implies that the basic fodder Crimson Guards that Jack is just casually able to just dodge all their attacks and just beat the living crap out of them with 2 punches. it implies that they're able to react and perceive and like dodge out of the way of lasers, as their main enemy, other than being Jak, would be the metalheads, where quite a few of the species of metalheads use electricity based attacks or just straight up just lasers. It's stated multiple times that they use lasers to attack. So going with this scaling, we could get Jak to easily the speed of light.
If not
But
FTL. If not
Huh?
FTL. If not FTL along with the other
if
amps.
not easily faster than light. I found an interesting thing where Jak was able to, in his going against the second Precursor robot, it actually had an attack where it uses laser-based weapons. One of them being a laser sword that it just slams the ground, causing shockwaves. And on my research, I found that shockwave, like, it's just basically states that shockwaves are basically just laser pulses. And it, based off of this research that hasn't been debunked, if anything, it's been supported, that laser pulses can actually go upwards of 300 times the speed of light.
And
So
yeah, that's a base Jak is casually can
Yeah.
be massively faster than light, not to mention if you add the just bare minimum, even just add the dark Jak transformation aside from the blue eco or like the size increase he gets, that's already going to be massively faster than light plus, which is very, it's not, I mean, you go ahead and try to debunk another scientist, but all power in you, but even if you don't agree with that, he casually dodges lasers like it's nothing, and you can easily get him to FTL, if not FTL plus, which is like some casual scaling with all the things he has dodged, plus the multipliers. Wouldn't you agree?
oh yeah, for sure.
So,
This is exclusive. Do you want to go over like the
high ends?
the high end?
Yeah, let's go over the speed high end first, because this is actually really much easier to go over. Would you like to go over it real quick?
Oh yeah, for sure. So basically in the same data book, but like for the second game, because each game has its own set one. One of the metalheads, it's called a metal jacket. It's an insect-like creature with wings, and it's stated that that is able to dart around quickly and hover. But an interesting statement that it says here is that their near instantaneous reaction time makes them a hard enemy to target. So Jak is able to, in his base form with just his basic weapons, is able to perceive an enemy that has near instantaneous reaction times and actually tag them with his gun and with or his just basic attacks.
And just based off that, you can easily argue like, infinite speed to some degree. And I know some people are going to write this off as being hyperbolic, which I can understand, but here's the thing. This was an official databooks. Databooks are meant to give information that the, canonic verse can't display with breaking down narrative lining. Now, if this was like, for example, a title, like a Naruto databooks, for an example, they would have the title of the chapter, like for example, they would say the heavenly eye that sees all things in the universe. That is most likely going to be hyperbolic, because it's just like giving some oomph to the, reading below it. But here's the thing, that wasn't the title. Wasn't the title just Metal Jacket?
Yes, that's just the title of it.
And then it explains what it is, so it actually makes sense for this to be not hyperbolic and literally just intended, which you can take it your way you want, but like you can easily argue an infinite speed, Dex, which anything else to add on that?
No, other than just what you're going over is just, even if you don't want to accept it, Jak is still easily massively faster than light just in his base. So with his forms, he would be even higher.
Yeah, so you could probably casually get him to like maybe a few thousand times the speed of light with the pulse, meta, and even without that, easily FTL plus to even possibly massively faster than light. Now, also going over some other things. In the first game, actually, one of the robots could actually destroy the world. It was stated in the notes, which you can which you can actually even upscale for like a base Jak was able to gain that robot was able to one-shot him literally, and then that Jak was able to gain in a way where he couldn't one-shot him and then one-shot the robot, which could be at bare minimum 15 times amp, and you can casually just upscale from that, which I wouldn't put that as a high end, but it's a pretty good argument you can use.
Yeah, for sure.
But going
Just going
into
off of
oh yeah,
that, we could just. I'm sorry.
no, you go, you go.
Uh, just going off of that, in the first game, when he is able to one-shot this precursor robot, it's just flat out stated that it's going to destroy the world and reshape it to their liking. Jack was doing this with just like a blob of just light eco. This is nothing compared to like what where he actually gains a transformation just off of light eco. So you could argue that like using the 15 times you could up, like Crafty said, you could upscale it and get higher numbers just off of this.
Which honestly, with just purely based of that feat, not to mention just a blob of that stuff can give like a 15 times amp. Not to mention what the whole full meteor transformations can do, and there's very easy parallelism between light eco and dark eco. You can obviously argue that they give a relative amp. You can probably even argue that, you know, Jak at his strongest, so then dark Jak can easily be even argued to be a dwarf star level threat, but like I would say that's more of a mid-end scaling than a high-end. There's actually some high-end stuff like I think would be better left in your character to explain, but like how do you agree with like the type of mid-end scaling for Dax? Jak, not Dax.
Oh yeah.
Daxter's sorely. Daxter's
If,
lacking.
yeah, if we go into like the mid end scaling, yeah, he could get into the dwarf star ranges of power. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
So I think you're better suited to go over the higher tiers of scaling for AP. If you like to go over that.
Oh, you want to go over the comp?
Yeah, why don't you just briefly go over it? Like, you don't have to put too much detail. It's like, spoiler alert, one of his, videos he will be making, if you don't mind me announcing this.
Oh, that's perfectly fine.
He's gonna briefly English. He's gonna briefly be going over the comp version of Jak, but like not too much detail. I'm probably not going to have to show any scans. I don't really have all of them on deck, but I can show you maybe a few. But he will actually be doing a video just going deep in on a comp version of Jak. But like that. Sorry for the spoiler, but like would you like to briefly go over this?
Oh, for sure, no problem. I would love to. So this is obviously non-canon. It's a comp version of Jak, but it's still an interesting thing to bring up, as it just completely blew my mind. I never thought like it would be at this level. Basically, there's a game called PlayStation All Stars. Wasn't all that. It had a mixed reception. Never got to play it myself, but like once you actually get into it, there is this character, the antagonist of the game, who is able to like create his own universe and manipulate it to his will and control all the energy within said universe. He's also able to manipulate all the PlayStation characters' different universes, which can be up to like 33 different universes, and like cause like mass destruction in them to get the characters' attention. That's how he draws them into his universe. And the game kind of follows a story mode. It's similar to Mortal Kombat, where you choose a certain character, it follows their story, you fight the other characters, and then you fight the big bad at the end. So it's similar to that. If you play as Jak is able to defeat this antagonist. I'm not going to get into his name, because maybe I want to keep some things.
Yeah.
But this character that Jak is able to defeat is basically in the story. Every other character in the game has been defeated, and he's able to like summon like these corrupted versions of them that scale to their real counterparts. They have their same abilities, techniques, and power. And the crazy thing is, I will I will say this, is that some of these characters are fucking ridiculous. Like two of them being the God of War Kratos.
Dear God.
And Dante from Devil May Cry.
Oh God.
So, yeah, like when you beat the antagonist of the game, he actually has an interesting dialogue where he just flat out states that nobody's been able to beat him. So in this story, he's beaten everybody. This would include Kratos and Dante, and he's corrupted them. And Jak is able to damage, even if you argue that like he's like being cocky and like because he sees them as like ants, Jak is still able to damage a being on that level who's surpassed those two characters. And then when Jak does kill him, he absorbs all of the energy of said antagonist. So like that's just completely
Yeah. So I don't want to steal your thunder for when you do your video. That's a low ball, just excluding all the characters he defeated. The Universal stuff is literally lowballed Universal plus. Low the hell out of it.
Yeah, fucking Universal, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that would wrap up this video. I don't want to steal any of your thunder or ideas for your next video, so I don't want you to go too deeply into that. I gotta put you on the leash real quick, you know, knowing you. Yeah, that was tell us what you think about this video in the comments below. Comment if you'd like to see, you know, Dark Deflex in another video. I believe he'll be much happy to come join in. He's like, you know me, I do what you guys recommend, and some of the things, like Isazori, you guys, I don't know, maybe people do those type of videos. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and go subscribe to Dark Deflex's channel. He'll be making videos soon. And anything else to say?
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
No problem.
Really. But yeah, like, if you guys have any, obviously to each their own, you can have your own interpretation. My word is not law. Mr. Crafty's word is not law. But if you have any contention with anything we've brought up, just leave a comment. I'd be more than happy to go on Crafty's channel and respond to anything you guys throw.
And yeah, and that'll be all on Mr. Crafty and
Dark Deflex.
out.